Hi, I'm Sherry Stump. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm reading from the devotional book, God's Amazing Grace by Ellen White. Today's reading is February 10 on page 49 in the book, and the title for today's reading is King of Glory. In Psalm chapter 24 and verse 7 and 8, we read, "Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be lift up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in." Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. Christ came to earth as God in the guise of humanity. He ascended to heaven as the King of saints. His ascension was worthy of his exalted character. He went as one mighty in battle, a conqueror, leading captivity captive. He was attended by the heavenly host amid shouts and acclamations of praise and celestial song. The disciples not only saw the Lord ascend, but they had the testimony of the angels that he had gone to occupy his Father's throne in heaven. The brightness of the heavenly escort and the opening of the glorious gates of God to welcome him were not to be discerned by mortal eyes. Had the track of Christ to heaven been revealed to the disciples in all its inexpressible glory, they could not have endured the sight. Their senses were not to become so infatuated with the glories of heaven that they would lose sight of the character of Christ on earth, which they were to copy in themselves. They were to keep distinctly before their minds the beauty and majesty of his life, the perfect harmony of all his attributes, and the mysterious union of the divine and human in his nature. His visible ascent from the world was in harmony with the meekness and quiet of his life. What a source of joy to the disciples to know that they had such a friend in heaven to plead in their behalf. Through the visible ascension of Christ, all their views and contemplation of heaven are changed. They now looked upon it as their future home, where mansions were being prepared for them by their loving Redeemer. Prayer was clothed with a new interest, since it was a communion with their Savior. They had a gospel to preach, Christ in human form, a man of sorrows, Christ in humiliation, taken by wicked hands and crucified, Christ resurrected and ascended to heaven into the presence of God to be man's advocate, Christ to come again with power and great glory in the clouds of heaven. Thank you for being with me today. I liked the way today's lesson helped us understand the disciples' change of perspective about heaven, how it became real to them at Christ's ascension. It's my prayer that heaven will be real to us, and like the disciples, we will know that our home is in heaven. And I hope you'll join me tomorrow when we will be reminded of the reality of heaven. I'd like to close today's devotional with a song that came to mind as I was doing this devotional. It's called "It Will Be Worth It All." Oft times the day seems long, our trials hard to bear. We're tempted to complain, to murmur and despair. But Christ will soon appear to catch his bride away. All tears forever over in God's eternal day. It will be worth it all when we see Jesus. Life's trials will seem so small when we see Christ. One glimpse of his dear face, all sorrow will erase. So bravely run the race till we see Christ. Sometimes the sky looks dark with not a ray of light. We're tossed and driven on, no human help in sight. But there is one in heaven who knows our deepest care. Let Jesus solve your problem. Just go to him in prayer. It will be worth it all when we see Jesus. Life's trials will seem so small when we see Christ. One glimpse of his dear face, all sorrow will erase. So bravely run the race till we see Christ. Life's day will soon be o'er, all storms forever past. We'll cross the great divide, to glory safe at last. We'll share the joys of heaven, a harp, a home, a crown. The tempter will be banished, we'll lay our burdens down. It will be worth it all when we see Jesus. Life's trials will seem so small when we see Christ. One glimpse of his dear face, all sorrow will erase. So bravely run the race till we see Christ. Friends, it will be worth it all when we see Jesus, and I hope that you will. Join us again tomorrow, and we'll go through another devotional. And until then, may God richly bless you more than you can ask or think.